I am 78 years old. It feels strange saying that out loud even now, not because I feel young, but because somewhere inside me, time stopped moving a long time ago, and my body kept going without asking. Most mornings I wake up before the sun, not because I have somewhere to be, but because sleep doesn't hold me like it used to. The house is still, no footsteps, no voices. Just the hum of the refrigerator and the sound of my own breathing reminded me I'm still here. I sit at the edge of the bed longer than I need to. I used to jump up quickly, afraid of being late. Late to work, late to meetings, late to life, I guess. Now there's nowhere to rush to, and that feels heavier than any deadline ever did. I didn't think I'd end up like this. Not alone exactly, but unused, unneeded, unremembered in the ways that matter. I spent most of my life believing that understanding would come with age, that if I kept moving, kept building, kept proving myself, clarity would just show up one day like a reward. I didn't know it waits for silence, and silence only comes when everything else is gone. When I was younger, time felt endless, not infinite, but generous, like a long road where you could take a few wrong turns and still make it back. I never imagined it narrowing, never imagined waking up one day and realizing there's more behind you than ahead. In my 20s, I was eager, not passionate, just eager. Eager to be someone, eager to matter, eager to not end up like my father, who worked hard but was never admired for it. I thought success was the same thing as meaning. Nobody corrected me. I met my wife when I was 27. She was sitting alone at a small table, reading a book she wasn't really reading. I remember thinking she looked calm in a way I wasn't, like she wasn't chasing anything. She smiled when I spoke to her. Not a practiced smile, just open. It disarmed me. She liked evenings, slow ones. She liked sitting without feeling the silence. I didn't understand that then. Silence made me nervous. It felt unproductive. We married young by today's standards, but it felt right. I promised her stability, security, a good life. I meant it. What I didn't realize was that I was also promising her my absence. In my 30s, work took over quietly, not all at once, just an extra hour here, a phone call there, a habit of checking emails or dinner. People praised me for it, said I was dependable, said I had a future. At home, my wife adjusted herself around my schedule. She learned to eat without me, to sleep before I came to bed, to save conversations for weekends that never felt long enough. She never complained loudly. That should have worried me, but it didn't. I mistook her patience for contentment. When our first child was born, I cried. I remember standing there, holding something so small, thinking how serious life suddenly felt. I told myself I'd be different, more present. Then Monday came. I missed things I thought I'd remember forever. First words, first steps, small victories that belonged to someone else by the time I noticed them. I told myself I was building something for them, a future, a safety net, a reason they'd be proud of me one day. They didn't ask for that. They asked for me. In my 40s, the years started moving faster, not because they actually did, but because I stopped paying attention. Days blended together. Work, home, sleep. Conversations became practical. What needed fixing, what needed paying, what needed planning. My wife would sometimes sit beside me and say nothing, just sit. I thought that meant everything was fine. Looking back, I realized she was waiting for me to notice. The kids grew into teenagers while I was busy being reliable. They learned independence early. I was proud of that. I didn't see the distance growing. It was subtle, polite, the kind that doesn't announce itself until it's permanent. By the time I slowed down enough to look around, we were all strangers pretending not to be. My wife tried to reach me in small ways, a comment about feeling tired, a question about whether this was all life was supposed to be. I answered like a manager, not a husband. I told her things would calm down, that this was just a phase, that we had time. I believed that with my whole chest. When she got sick, it felt unreal, like a clerical error, something that happened to other people. The hospital room was cold and bright. Machines made sounds I learned to recognize too quickly.
I sat beside her, holding her hand, thinking about all the times I hadn't. She didn't blame me. That somehow hurt more than if she had. One night, she looked at me and said she wished we'd lived more instead of preparing to live. Her voice wasn't angry, just tired. I didn't know how to respond. I never had. She died when I was 63, and in that moment, the future I had been saving everything for collapsed. There was nothing left to prepare for. Grief doesn't arrive like a storm. It's more like fog. It settles in quietly and refuses to lift. The house felt wrong without her. Every object became evidence of time wasted. A chair she used to sit in, a mug she preferred, the silence where her voice should have been. The kids came around at first. They worried about me. They checked in. And I told them I was fine. I've always been good at saying that. Eventually, life pulled them back into its current. Jobs, families, commitments. I became a holiday obligation, a phone call on Sundays, a visit that required planning. I don't blame them. I taught them how to live without me. Retirement was strange. One day I mattered, the next day no one called. The title I'd worn for decades vanished overnight. So did the structure that kept me distracted. That's when the memories started lining up, patient, unforgiving. I saw moments I dismissed as insignificant, a look on my wife's face I didn't ask about, a door closing behind a child who wanted me to follow, an invitation I postponed until it expired. I finally understand what I lost. Not success, not money, not status. I lost presence. I lost the version of myself who could sit still without feeling guilty. I lost relationships that needed time more than effort. I lost the warmth of being truly known. Loneliness at this age isn't dramatic. It's routine. It's setting one plate instead of two. It's realizing no one will notice if you don't speak all day. People assume regret is about big failures. Mine isn't. It's about delays, about assuming there was always another chance, another conversation, another year. There isn't. At 78 years, time doesn't scare me anymore. It just feels precious in a way I ignored when I had plenty of it. Some days I sit by the window and watch people hurry past. They look like I used to feel, busy, certain, untouchable. I want to tell them to slow down, but I know they wouldn't listen. I wouldn't have. All I can do is say this out loud now, finally, honestly. If you're listening, I won't tell you how to live. Life doesn't respond to instructions. I'll just tell you what took me 78 years to understand. The things you postpone quietly, leave without saying goodbye. And one day, you realize you've been preparing for a life that already passed you by. That's the truth I avoided. This is what remains.